Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tube Talk.
A very special Caulfield Cup edition of Tube Talk.
A very long edition of Tube Talk. Not only do we have 7 runners, we have a further 19 horses to talk about, so let's crack into it.
I like your style.
Last week we had Zanotti on Friday, who came second.
Yeah, a couple of good performances last Friday. Zanotti first up in the South Island, ridden very well by Matt Cameron, made good ground up the straight, ran second. She looks in for a good campaign there. Another very good horse who ran second was Sophie, I'm pointing here.
Oh, sorry, Chariots of Fire in Singapore.
Yes.
I thought you were going to talk about the email.
So his first couple of, I'll go for 7 emails. His first couple of runs in Singapore, he's been trapped wide and he had a good draw back on the turf. He led, he kicked. We watched it next door at Jeff's house and he only got nailed late and he will be winning very soon. Unfortunately last week as well we had a scratch north and south from the Taranaki Breeder Stakes. She just had a slight knot to her leg, but she's back again this week. So we end up having a bit of a sort of couple of scratchings and things, but it's been a good week. No return, 1 and 2 seconds, 2 close seconds. So as the tracks improve, our horses will also improve.
And this week, on Saturday particularly, we have 6 runners.
Yes.
7 runners, but 6 of them on Saturday.
Yes, you are quite correct.
All the following horses mentioned will be Saturday runners. First of all, we've got Thorn Pass racing in Otaki in race 1.
So, Thorn Pass, last time out at the iconic race day at Hawke's Bay, he was a little bit disappointing. He didn't really run on as we thought he would. However, he had a few coughs when he came back. His bloods were fine. We thought he might have swallowed some dirt. So he's worked well this week. It's a small field, a 6-horse field. It is going to be a very heavy track, heavy 10 or 11. But being a smallish field, they shouldn't go overly hard and be able to sprint home with it. It's at Otaki where he's won before, so it's an opportunity for him to get back into some form and get some confidence up. So I think he's an each way chance. Jonathan Park's back on. I think he's a boy's horse. I think he needs a boy rider, and Jonathan Park's I think will suit him.
The next horse we have is in Roche River in the Group 3
Swayness Stakes, the old line red.
No More
plate.
Tears is running in that, and we have another one, but we'll talk about No More Tears first.
Yeah, so 2 runners, haven't we, in that race. No More Tears, she's a class act. She's multiple stakes placed. She's stakes placed in Australia. She ran second on the Foxbridge Plate. She failed the McPhee. We turned her out. We brought her back. She's well. She's got barrier 10. I think it's going to be a heavy track on Saturday. A heavy 10 or possibly 11, I believe. Looking at the forecast. So she should be able to get into the better part of the track. Her work's been excellent. She has been a little bit in and out this year, but on the basis of her work and her class, I think she's a very good winning chance. If the track is a heavy 11, it certainly negates her chances and her speed. A heavy 10 isn't great, but it's copable. So a slow track for her is preferable, but regards to track conditions, we think she'll be competitive.
We also have North and South in that race.
So North and South was meant to run in the Group 3 1400 last week. She had a slight knot to her leg. It's 100% again. So that's why she's running this week in this race. We're searching for more black type for her. If the rain comes as predicted, it's a heavy 11, she will be a good chance. Trudy Thornton rides. She's got barrier 1, but she'll just get back and relax. And she will handle the track conditions better than pretty much all of the field if it's a heavy 10 or 11, and she will be over the odds on Saturday.
And following 3 horses are all racing at Ashburton. To start off in race 5, in the maiden mile, we have She Is Graceful. Well, she's graceful. So She's Graceful
ran last week at Timaru, and we had a plan with her. The plan was to just let her get back, relax, and run home over 1,200 metres. We realised that she would be difficult for her to win, but we just wanted to teach her things. And she did very well. She was 3 lengths last, coming to the turn. She ran home, she got blocked, then she got out, ran home again, good strides late, really happy with her. She'll back up this week at Ashburton. There'll be cut in the track, I think. It'll be somewhere between a dead and a slow track, I think, which I don't think she'll mind. She's got a wide draw, she'll probably get back again. Kylie Williams is on, and I can see her being an each way chance. I can see her running home, and you know, at double figure odds she'll be paying, but I'll certainly be having $1 each one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kylie Williams is a bit of a key to her. She rides her well.
Mm-hmm. And we also have Zanotti racing in rating 65 2100.
So she was second last week at Timaru. She is a stayer. She's looking for more ground. This 2100 metres suits better. Kylie Williams again rides. She'll probably roll forward, I imagine, from her barrier draw, and she should be very competitive. She's a definite top 3 chance. And if there's rain around it, it won't bother her at all.
3 emails. I voted. How many did you vote? I voted one more than you.
I went 7.
Yeah, I'm good 8. And finally, on Saturday at Ashburton, in race 10, in the rating 85, winner 100, Sadler's Rock.
Now, Sadler's Rock, we gave him a run at Riccarton a couple of weeks ago. He hates Riccarton, never runs well there. It was too short for him. He carried a massive weight. We knew he was no chance. It was a go-round, get fit. He did that. He's much improved for that. He might just need possibly one more run. He is stepping up to 2100, which is like a good distance from him. He may just need one more run before striking form. And we've got a close eye on the weather for him because he likes it firm and he just did. He doesn't like it wet. If it gets slow 8 or 9, we might scratch him. If it's inside that, he'll probably run. It's worth 25,000. Samantha Wynne, who's South Island's leading jockey, has galloped him, really likes him and wants to stick with him. So look, I would say he's an outside chance on Saturday, but I would say third up over ground his next start, he'll be a very good chance on a track that's good to dead. Mm-hmm. So just an outside chance on Saturday.
Mm. And we have one horse on Sunday, which is Holy Grail in Singapore, race 2. And Holy Grail is a first starter. Yeah,
look, and he's a nice horse. He's a good colt, good gelding, I should say. His trial form is very good. He is going to be a 1400 metre miler. He's over 1100 because it's his first start, and it's basically just an opportunity for him to step out over a shorter distance before he gets fit enough for 1400. He's got a wide draw, which on the poly track is terrible. You've pretty much got to draw well to be a chance. He's likely to go back. We've got Michael Rod on, which we're very happy about, find his feet, and he'll be finding the line well. He's probably not a winning chance, but from his draw on the poly track, but we expect him to hit the line well, and stepping up to 1400 metres second start, look out.
And now we have a Caulfield Cup preview.
Runner by runner, Caulfield Cup preview. Take it with a pinch of salt. You may like my selections and comments, or you may not, but we just thought it's something that people might like.
Cool.
So you call out the horses, and I will give you the assessment.
The numbered from their barriers.
No, so the number on the left is their race number 1. The number in brackets is their barrier. But you just give me the horse. You just say number 1 and give me the name.
Number 1, Preferment.
Number 1. I'm just going to refer to my laptop here as we go.
Cool.
Number 1, Preferment. I like Preferment. Hugh Bowman on board. Chris Waller trained. He's got 57 kilograms, which I actually don't think is a bad weight for this for the Caulfield Cup. You know, you look through his form, and he was good first up in the Chelmsford Stakes. The Hill Stakes, he wasn't too bad. In the Turnbull, I think he was very good. I think he was making ground really well late. He's by Zabeel. I don't think Barrier 15 is going to be too much of a concern for him. I think he is a live chance, and I've got him in my top 4 or 5 runners. I think he'll be over the odds, and I think he's a nice each way bet.
And number 2 is Our Ivanhoe.
Now I know a lot of people like him, and some people have selected him, and I'll talk about that at the end of the assessment. But I'm not so keen on him. He ran 3rd in the race last year, which was a good run, but he's got 56.5 kilos to carry, which I think is enough for him as a 7-year-old. He raced in Queensland, and he was very good in Queensland, but I'm not so keen on horses that race there, have a short prep and come back. You know, and what we saw when he came back is he was very good fresh up, and then second up, he wasn't very good on the Turnbull. And I just think he might be a run short, and I just think he might struggle on Saturday. So, not for me.
Third is Exospheric.
So there's a lot of money around for Exospheric. It's an import, and Lee Friedman is now training him. It's his first start for Lee Friedman. Looking at the horse, he's got quite an extravagant high knee action, which tends to me to say he wouldn't mind a bit of cut in the track, but also he would like a bigger track than Caulfield. I think the Melbourne Cup is probably their goal. And while he's got barrier 3, I don't think he'll suit Caulfield. I think he might struggle to get around the corners a little bit. And for me, while there's a lot of money on him and he's going to be well backed, I wouldn't have him in my picks. I would wait for the Melbourne Cup. I think he's a good bet in the Melbourne Cup.
And fourth horse is Scottish.
Look, Scottish, I think, again, he's a horse who is an import by Teofilio, who's a fantastic sire. His form in the UK is very, very good. I think Kieran McAvoy is a very good jockey. He's got a good barrier draw. I think he's a nice chance, but you can't have them all. And I think there's a couple of other imports which might be a better chance than him. And for me, he's sort of finishing somewhere between 4th and 7th.
And next we have Sir Isaac Newton.
Trained by Aidan O'Brien, Sir Isaac Newton. He's obviously a high-class horse. He's been running in the King George, the Juddmonte, and the Irish Champion Stakes. There's a couple of things I'm not so keen on about this horse. One is he just seemed to train off a little bit at his last campaign. He was very good and he just sort of seemed to fade away a little bit. And his last race was in September at Leopardstown in Ireland. They're also bringing an international jockey in, Com O'Donoghue, and I don't think international jockeys generally are good in Australia. And the big races, they tend to sit wide. They're not used to tight corners like they are at Caulfield. For me, again, he could be a class above them possibly, but I'm willing to risk him on his form profile. And barrier 9 with that jockey on, and for me, I wouldn't have him in my top 5.
Number 6 is Tarzino.
Winner of the VRC Derby last year, he looked like a superstar in the making. He hasn't come up, in my opinion. His runs have only been fair. He's probably in the race because they've qualified and they're hoping the 2400 metres will help. But I couldn't have him, not on the way he's gone this time in.
And we have I'm very sorry if I mispronounced this. Moonquith.
Moonquith, yes.
I was going to say it's weird because it's not QU.
Again, I think this is another import. But for me, this horse is a 7-year-old now, and he's just not going good enough. Last start in the Bart Cummings, the field was a step down from this. He did nothing the start before in the Naturalism, which was a step down from this. He did nothing either. It would be a massive turnaround in form for him to be in this race. He's got a barrier draw too, which will help. But for me, he's just a plotter, and I couldn't have him.
And we have in number 8, Sir John Hawkwood.
Sir John Hawkwood, I think he's a very good chance. Look, he won the Metropolitan last start. He won the Metropolitan last start. And the Sydney horses have come to Melbourne and they've performed this spring. And he won it with authority, I thought. He bet some good horses. He's got a really good profile. He gets in, while he is an older horse, I think the 2400 metres is going to suit him down to the ground. He's in the form of his life. He's only got 53.5 kilos. And while he's an 8-year-old, the distance suits, and I've got him in my top 4. Because he's an 8-year-old, he might be over the odds too.
Next we have Articus. Number 9.
Number 9, Articus, trained by Andres Waller, who knows how to train winners in Australia. He's trained the winner of a Melbourne Cup. This is my pick, Articus. Zach Purton on. I've seen this horse in track work. He has got a beautiful action. I think they're here for this race. I don't think they're going to the Melbourne Cup. I think this is the race they've set him for. He's got 53 kilos. international jockey on. His form is outstanding, but just the way he moves, and I think the way he is settled in, and how well he is, I think is a great indication. And a lot of his form up in the Northern Hemisphere is over 2,000 metres, and I think that's really good. He's got speed for Australia for 2,400. And I know there's been a lot of money for him and a lot of support, and I like him a lot. I like him a lot.
And now we have a halfway marker, which is Tally.
So look, Tally, we talked about Tarzino earlier and who hasn't come up as a 4-year-old. Tally has come up better as a 4-year-old. And he was placed in the AJC Derby, but he's got barrier 18, which makes it very difficult for him. He was okay in the Turnbull Stakes for 3rd, but I just think that these horses are going to be a level above him, and from barrier 18, I would risk him. I can see him running midfield.
And next up is Jamaica.
So Jamaica's a $3.50 favourite for this race. Again, she's a 3-year-old filly that was an Oaks winner. She's come back as a 4-year-old, and she has been good. She is a horse that has taken the step up. She was second in the Turnbull behind Hartnell, but the rest of them were as far behind her as she was beaten by Hartnell. She won the naturalism. She's peaking at the right time. She's in the mix. I think there might be one or two better than her, and I think at $3.50, I don't think she's any value. I couldn't back her at that money, but she has a distinct winning chance.
And next we have Real Love.
Look, Real Love, and I know there's other people that really like this horse, and as I say, we'll talk about that later at the end. For mine, she's been racing in races that are just below the top leading into this. She was 7th in the naturalism. She won the JRA Cup, but it's a big jump from the JRA Cup up to this. She's a 6-year-old mare now. She doesn't appear to like Caulfield. She hasn't raced well here in the past. She does have Darren Weir training her, and he is flying at the moment. Man, he can get anything to win. He can get a pony to win. So she does have that. She does have Craig Williams. She's only got 52.5 kilos, but for mine, it's too big a step up, and I couldn't have her in my top 5. But look, she could run a big race, and but for me, she's somewhere in that 10th to 12th sort of position.
And number 13, we have Set Square.
Look, I don't mind this horse. I think at long odds, I think he's worth a little gold coin each way. He's been a very good horse. Last spring he was good. He was a little bit unlucky in the McKinnon. She was a little bit unlucky in the McKinnon. And if you look at her form, fresh up, she went really well. She was finishing off well. Second up in the Feehan, she ran 3rd. She was closing off well. In the naturalism, she was 4th. She loomed. She was closing off well again. And then last start in the Turnbull, she got well back. It was a very, very windy day. It was blustery. She never got into the race, and she ran 11th, but at 10th. But if you take that run out, her 3 previous runs, she was getting better, and peaking. And because of the conditions that day, I'll forgive her that. And while she's got barrier 19 and Mick D on board, I think they'll get back, and I think they'll be hitting the line well. And I think she'll be at big odds, and I think she's a rough chance. A rough chance.
And number 15 is Sacred. Oh, no,
14.
No, 14. So I'm getting him myself. Big Memory.
So,
which I clearly do.
Big Memory. Look, he was quite good in the Herbert Power last week, but it was only a 6-horse field. I think it was a class below what he finds here. His previous runs were just in open class races. They were a long way below this. Look, I know that he's had a big reputation in the past, a big rap. He's a 7-year-old now from barrier 12, and for mine, he's just a level below a lot of them, and I couldn't have him.
And actually 15th we have Sacred Master.
Yeah, now Sacred Master, this is the horse, he won the Go Racing Avondale Cup.
Ooh, there you go. That
we sponsored, and he's a very good 1.5 mile horse. He won the Newcastle Cup. He got a long way back on the Metropolitan, and he finished off beautifully, very, very strongly. He's got a good barrier draw of 8. He'll settle up somewhere handy. He's only got 51.5 kilos. He's a definite chance. He has a definite chance. I probably wouldn't have him in my top 3, but you could easily see him running the top 5, and he has a winning chance.
And we did have the Kiwi horse Fanatic, but Fanatic has been scratched.
She has been scratched from a spider bite. To be fair, if she'd run, I don't think she'd had the preparation to be competitive, and she wouldn't have been in my picks.
She was number 16, so let's get to number 17, which is Pemberley.
Yeah, Pemberley, a Darcy Brahma. And look, the Darcy Brahmas, they can run well. But look, she's in that box of horses that have been running in lower grade races, and she's got good form in lower grade races. She was third in the Hoop Power last week. But look, if I'm going to like her, I have to like Big Memory, and I'm not that keen on him. And she's got barrier 16, so for those reasons, I can't have her.
Then we quickly mentioned that was number 6. If it gets
Him.
to 7,
I can't have him.
yes. If it gets that was the 6th female. If it gets to 7, you win. If it gets to 8, I win.
Okay, on the emails.
Go Dreaming is next with the number of 18.
Yeah, look, Go Dreaming, I think it's got barrier 1. That's in its favour. Caitlin Mellion's getting a ride in the race. That's nice. Couldn't have it. Couldn't have it. I'll be surprised if it beats more than 4 or 5 home.
And number 19, we have D Little Engine.
Well, one thing you'll say about this horse is he's in the race because of Fanatic scratching. He'll stay. He'll certainly stay. And he's been making ground. Look, his run in the Turnbull was all right, but prior to that, he was running in races that were just handicap races, lower class, and I just couldn't have him. I mean, I could have him over 2 miles in a lower grade race, but I couldn't have him.
And before our last horse, that was an email, so I have one.
Okay.
We have Wenger Mask.
Wenger Mask. Wenger Mask has been racing. It's an imported horse, but its races here have been midweek, and it's just gone fair. It did run 4th in the Bart Cummings, and was hitting the line right. But to be honest, from barrier 17, couldn't have it. I can see it running a nice race. I can see it running sort of midfield actually, and be lying its odds. But I couldn't have it in the first 5 or 6. Might be more suited to more grounds. Not for me.
And there we go.
So we have our picks, our top 4 picks.
Caulfield Cup.
So our top 4 picks. My top 4 picks for the Caulfield Cup are Articus is number 1. Great profile. They're setting for this race. Very good trainer. Beautiful action horse. $9 fixed odds. Each way all day. I like him a lot. He's my number 1 pick. So John Hawkwood is my 2nd pick. While he's an 8-year-old, he's very consistent. He was very good in the Metropolitan. I think that form will stack up this year. And I think he is. I think he'll run well. Jamaica is my 3rd pick. As I said, her form was very good this time in. She beat the rest as easy as Hartnell beat her. She profiles well. 1.5 miles is right up her alley. She performs in the spring. She's 3rd. And for me, Preferment's 4th. Good jockey, good trainer. I think he's peaking well. I think he'll be ready to run a good race. And I can see him running well. My best roughie is Set Square, as we've discussed. And Matt has also sent through his picks. Matt has gone Real Love. He loves the trainer, thinks it's a horse hitting form at the right time and good money. Jamaica's his 2nd pick, for everything we've talked about. Our Ivanhoe's his 3rd pick. He likes the fact he ran well in this race last year, and he thinks he's picking well. And so John Hawkwood, for all the reasons I spoke about, is his 4th pick. And his best roughie is Big Memory. So sorry?
And there we go. That is our whole tube talk. It was the biggest one I think we've ever done.
That is the Caulfield Cup runner by runner preview. Tell me if you like it. Let us know if you like it. And if you do, we'll do one for the Melbourne Cup.
There we go.
All right. So, no bet of the week this week because we did the Caulfield Cup preview. And we'll see everyone next week on Tube Talk.
See ya.
Bye.